Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily news television show broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels.
Analytics company VidIQ has certified that Queer News Tonight YouTube channel is the world's most popular LGBTQ streaming news show. Our queer stories have reached over 10 million views.
We are proud that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ brand in Florida.
We thank you for watching and supporting our voice in our rainbow family. There is no other news program in the LGBTQ world like Queer News Tonight.
It is Monday, June 30th. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we'll tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
You're watching Queer News Tonight, the world's first daily LGBTQ evening news show.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ plus evening news show.
Hotspots Magazine, Happening Now Television Network, is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model of PBS and NPR, but created for the LGBTQ community.
Our nonprofit mission is to support the 11 pillars of our LGBTQ community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our diverse community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network. In 2025, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ experience, and Queer News Tonight is celebrating our 5th anniversary with more than 10,000 queer television stories. We present Pride Fête in August, and we declare that love is in the air with Pride Fort Lauderdale on Valentine's Day, February 14th. Our magazine, events, television news, talk and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ and broader communities.
In 2025, more than 100 community leaders will sit at this same table and share their voices as our anchors. Together, we host this show to support the LGBTQ plus community. Let's meet this evening's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome back to the table Big Vaughn, or you can call him Von Biggs. He is a community engagement and outreach coordinator at Holy Cross Health, a vice chair of the Ryan White Part A Planning Council, and a board member of Trans Ed and Harmony Waves. Vaughn, in your spare time, what else do you have to do? Vaughn, so Holy Cross Health to shine at Pride Fête on August 9th. Tell us what's happening out.
That's right, Faye. Holy Cross Health will proudly participate in Pride Fête on Saturday, August 9th at Richardson Park. This event will celebrate 25 years of LGBTQ plus specialized care at the Holy Cross Wilton Manors Clinic. At their booth, attendees will meet the dedicated team, explore inclusive health services, collect resources, and enjoy giveaways. Holy Cross Health continues to provide comprehensive, compassionate care tailored to the LGBTQ plus community. And Holy Cross invites all to honor the past, celebrate the present, and embrace a more inclusive future. Pre-sale tickets are $7, and more information is available at pridefet.lgbt. You know, I love that our community is such a diverse community in culture. Mm-hmm. And I've been there several years now, and I just enjoy that. It's such a different feel. We're finishing June. We're getting done with our Pride, and now we'll get geared up for another one.
And nothing to do with the fact that there's a bunch of hot Caribbean boys there.
Well, maybe.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Listen, this is an awesome Pride.
It is.
It's so much fun. The food is delicious. Mm-hmm. And the costumes, like, I don't have the guts to wear one of those amazing costumes, but like the feathers and everything, like, they're just so beautiful and so colorful.
Yes.
You know, and they get to bring us into just different foods and different kind of culture and different kind of music, and I love it. It's going to be a great time, and it's every year it's packed too.
Yes, it is.
So I mean, I think this is like the 3rd or 4th year, and they have been killing it over there. So you could buy your tickets beforehand, which is always an easy way. So when you get there, you don't have to go and like take out your card and all that kind of stuff, and then just go right through the line and get your favorite food and like go mingle and dance and all that. You're going to go, aren't you?
Of course I am.
You're so close to the place, so I know you're going to have to go.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to be waiting at the door. I'm like, okay, all right, where's Alex? Where's Vaughn? All right, we're there. All right, we'll all meet at Von Biggs' table, right?
That's right.
Because you guys will have a table there.
Of course.
It.
Yep.
Okay, the meeting spot, and if you get lost, also at Holy Cross Health table. That'll be the connection spot.
That'll be right. Yeah.
He's taking attention, so.
Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at Pride Fête 2025 on August 9th. And that is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome back to the table anchor Alex Morash. Alex has served as editor-in-chief of Options Magazine, media director of the National LGBTQ Task Force, and press secretary for the Florida Democratic Party. Alex, psychedelic horror classic. You had me at psychedelic. Psychedelic horror classic house to haunt Coral Gables on July 5th. Tell me what's happening out.
Sure thing, Faye. On Saturday, July 5th at 9 p.m., Coral Gables Art Cinema will screen House from the 1937 Japanese cult horror film. Audiences will be transported into a surreal nightmare as 7 schoolgirls visit a haunted countryside manor filled with evil spirits, a demonic cat, and a killer piano. Renowned for its psychedelic visuals and absurd tone, the film uses animation, collage, and special effects to craft an unforgettable cinematic experience. Tickets range from $5 to $11.75, but viewers should be advised the screening contains strobe effects. Full details and tickets will be available at gablescinema.com. And you had me at 7 schoolgirls running in fear of a killer piano.
Yes, exactly.
Like, sure.
Don't forget about the cat, Alex.
Exactly.
There's a cat involved. Has anybody seen this movie? Why haven't we seen it? Like, I'm sorry. Like, this sounds like right up my alley,
Yes.
right? 7 schoolgirls being killed. There's a piano. There's a cat. I mean, what else do you need?
With the killer piano, I'm like, does it talk? Is this like a demonic version of Beauty and the Beast? Like, what are we getting into?
I know. But how fun that Gables Cinema is doing this and bringing back old movies like this. Like, none of us had heard of the movie, and now we're like taken by it, and now we've got to go and see this movie.
Exactly.
You know? I love that kind of stuff. Keep doing stuff like that because we really enjoy it in our queer little world. And Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at the screening of House at Coral Gables on July 5th. And that is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. Next up, let's welcome anchor Buddy Frey. He supports many of South Florida's local nonprofit organizations like Julian's Fountain of Youth and the Stonewall National Library and Museum. Buddy, Holy Cross is going to host LGBTQ plus trauma care webinar on July 30th. Tell me what's happening out.
Well, Faye, on Wednesday, July 30th from 12 to 2 p.m., Holy Cross Health's Community Health and Well-Being Department will host a national webinar in collaboration with Equality Florida. The online event, called Trauma-Informed Care for LGBTQ Patients, will train healthcare professionals to recognize trauma responses and create safer clinical spaces. Participants will explore how past trauma, particularly in healthcare settings, can affect LGBTQ patients' trust and outcomes. The session will offer practical strategies for reducing harm across all healthcare roles. Eligible attendees may also earn 2 IPC continuing education hours. Registration is open to providers across the country. For more details, visit holy-cross.com. Now, this is something above my educational background, but I hear that it's very well attended, and Vaughn would be the expert on this, since it's his organization
Vaughn,
sponsoring it.
Again, when I saw this, I was like, wow, I was blown away because, I mean, we're constantly talking to friends and family that have issues when it comes to healthcare, right? And I'm the first one to say, hey, go somewhere where they have LGBTQ plus trained healthcare professionals. And you would be surprised as to how many are not, you know? And so trauma right there, we've all got some kind of trauma, and there's so many different things that can trigger us in any way, shape, or form, like going to a doctor to let them know what's going on with you, you know? So how does this all work?
Well, you know, we were part of, obviously, the HEI, Health Equity Index, that we scored a very high score on, and through the HRC. And part of the training is making sure your staff, your organization, even your leaders, executive leadership, have been trained on trauma-informed care, on compassionate care, making sure that you're addressing everyone, but also you do know how to address our transgender community, our lesbian communities. You know how to talk to them about their pronouns. And a lot of this is them trying to understand we have to, as individuals, and I'll say we as patients, right? Have we dealt with our own trauma in our lives? And the idea is, if you sit across from someone, you always have to look at the other side, right? What's keeping them from accessing their health care? What's keeping them from doing what they need to do? And it's something they haven't dealt with themselves. And if you understand that, it's easier to deal with individuals that way. And I think, you know, Equality Florida has developed this great program working with HRC and us, and it's any healthcare professional can do this webinar. So it's going to be a great event.
Okay.
You know, it was nice to see Equality Florida in there. And like, you know, I feel almost troubled to mention this with the Equality Florida of, I have nothing bad to say about Equality Florida. That's so unlike me with the progressive. Woohoo! They've really been doing a great job the last few years, and it's just great to see them doing stuff like this.
Yep.
But what's even more important is when you come across a group like this or a moment like this, I mean, a patient typically is in an emergency situation, a high-stress situation. They don't feel good. They're grumpy. They're in pain. They're confused because you're having all this stuff being talked around you, over you, and through you.
Right.
So situations like this, it just makes it much more viable and visible for us.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's a way, if you think about it, we need to look at, you know, obviously with our political climate we've got going on right now of gender, you know, we have to find a way of being gender neutral, right? It's almost like, you know, it's just almost like care and treatment, like HIV treatment, you know, you're treating it the same whether you're on PrEP or you're on medication for HIV. It's a status neutral approach. And that's the way we need to approach people and help them through their trauma. I mean, we got a lot of youth. Obviously, in an emergency situation, that's going to be very difficult in some cases.
But still, you have to be respectful.
But still, you have to be respectful. I mean, and there are, you know, I love healthcare workers. I'm married to one, right? So, but I also know a lot of healthcare workers that are stuck up and have all kinds of ego and are like, I don't want to learn shit. Right. And I don't need to learn anything. Right. And so things like this are so important for those that do want to help our community, for those that are there to give care to our community. You've got to know what the right questions are. Right. And then certain answers might mean that you might need to get other help for this patient. Right. These are things that we need that as a patient, we deserve it.
Right.
Well, we don't always know.
And we don't always know.
To ask. We don't know how to ask. We're in a vulnerable situation where we're trusting the system to do what's right for us, not decide for us and then not include us.
Right.
Yeah, which is so many times happening, unfortunately. And Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you all, if you are a healthcare person, to please be part of this webinar for trauma-informed care for LGBTQ patients on July 30th from Holy Cross. And that is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
And of course, let's welcome tonight's lead anchor, my dear friend and every gay boy's favorite lesbian, FayWhat. She is legendary events host and television and radio personality and the host of Hotspots Happening Out, the FayWhat Show. Faye, Bowl-A-Thon 2025 rolls in to support pets in need. Tell me what's happening out.
On Saturday, July 19th from 9:30 a.m. at Manor Lanes in Wilton Manors, the Pet Project will host Bowl-A-Thon 2025. This vibrant fundraiser will unite teams of 5 for a fun-filled bowling competition supporting over 2,000 pets and their families in need. Registration starts at 9:30 a.m., bowling at 10 a.m. sharp. Participants will create fundraising pages aiming to raise $1,000 per team. Every $250 raised earns a raffle ticket for a 75-inch. Yes. That's a big, smart TV, all right? Because we like to see everything big. So the day wraps up with an after party at the pub at 2283 Wilton Drive. So the ultimate goal is to raise $50,000. $7,900 has been raised so far. And to register or donate, please visit givebutter.com/Bowl-A-Thon 2025. You know, you guys know that I love the Pet Project and I'm the biggest dog lover ever. And so Sue Marino over there does so much work she's the ED at the Pet Project, and she is simply an incredible human being. You know, times are tough. I paid a lot of money for eggs the other day, and I was like, what the hell are these? Did they have gold inside or something like that? You know, I went to Publix. I swear I bought 3 things. It was $60. Okay. And so things are expensive, and we have to buy food for our pets as well. And we have to make sure that our pets have the necessary flea and tick stuff that they need and go to the vet and all that kind of stuff. And some people don't have the money to do it. There are seniors living in our midst that would pay for food for their dogs before paying for their own medicine. Okay, and Sue and the folks over there at the Pet Project help for that. Right. All right. They have one of their projects that I simply love is for senior dogs. Right. If you want to take care of a senior dog, they give you everything to take care of the senior dog. All the vet stuff is paid for. All the food is paid for. All you have to give is a home and belly rubs. Right. For a pup to live his last year or his last couple of years in a warm, loving environment. That's just one of many segments of Pet Project that they take care of, and they've been doing it for years. years. And that woman, I mean, she lives, sleeps, breathes, taking care of pets. She gets emails all day long from people that are in really difficult situations. And that's why this Bowl-A-Thon is more important now than ever. If you have a dog, if you love a dog, if you had a dog that was your spirit dog, you know who you are, right? Come and bowl. And if you can't, just go and donate some money. That's okay too. Some people can't wake up at 9 o'clock and go bowling. You know, Buddy used to bowl since he's been a kid. So he says he's going to get there early to shine balls for other people. So, you know.
Really? Okay.
The balls that we're bowling with.
Oh, okay.
Buddy.
We have to be clear.
To be clear.
You know,
How important is something like this, right? It is super important.
It's super important. I have 2 rescues. I had 3. I've always had rescues. This is my 5th and 6th dog. So it is always important. And I was just thinking, how can I give? Maybe I should go buy an extra 45 pounds worth of dog food for him. Or, when I go grocery shopping, quit shopping at Publix, please. But I mean, I'm going to figure out a way to donate. I don't know about the 9:30 a.m. But
money fits all dogs. Go over to their Give Buddy and to their Give Butter. I love that. Right?
I do too. I love that. I'm like,
Give Butter. Yes. Nice.
Yes.
GiveButter.com/Bowl-A-Thon 2025.
Okay. So please.
Yes.
Please.
and
Alex,
pub after party.
And the pub after party. I love that.
Right.
Oh, I know. I can't guarantee me and my puppies will be at the pub after party, but we could probably drag me there. But like, it is an important, when we talk about economic insecurity in this country, we never want to get into the whole part of it. Like, yes, there are people that don't have means that have pets. Their pets shouldn't be mistreated just because our society is stingy, So it's good to see a nonprofit doing this, and it's a really good cause.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at Bowl-A-Thon 2025 on July 19th. That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ plus story for today. I'm FayWhat, and let's queer up the world view. Largest ever Budapest Pride March challenges Hateful Orbán. In Budapest this weekend, history was made. Tens of thousands filled the streets in the largest ever pride parade Hungary has ever seen, despite the government's attempt to ban it. Right-wing Prime Minister Viktor Orbán, whose party passed an anti-LGBTQ law in March, aimed to shut pride down by criminalizing the depiction of homosexuality to minors. Organizers and attendees faced threats of fines and even facial recognition tracking. But Hungary's queer community and allies pushed back with love, resistance, and massive numbers. The Pride president, Victoria Radvani, said, quote, "We believe there are 180,000 to 200,000 people attending. It is hard to estimate because there have never been so many people at Budapest Pride," end quote. Even Budapest mayor joined the march. Peter Magyar, Orbán's political rival, didn't mince words either. Magyar said, quote, "Viktor Orbán became the king of pride in Europe yesterday because no one else has ever managed to mobilize such a large crowd for a demonstration against himself by inciting hatred," end quote. Despite Orbán's calling the parade shameful, LGBTQ Hungarians and allies showed the world what pride and courage really look like. Oh my God, this makes me beyond happy. You know what's more powerful than hate? Half a damn city marching in rainbow. Budapest just served Orbán his own censorship with a side of glitter and guts, baby. When you try to erase queer people, we don't disappear. Right. We show up in numbers so big that you can't count us and you can't stop us. And that's how you show what pride really is.
Right. I mean, it's like, I'm trying to think, what was DC Pride? How many attended that one?
I don't know.
That was World Pride. That was about 2 million, I believe.
Was it? Okay. But I'm sitting there thinking, 200,000 in Budapest? I mean...
But that has to be straight people. That has to be your family. That has to be your neighbors. And that's what got me excited because, every large community hopefully has a large gay community.
Yes.
But they have their allies.
This time it was people who would never have gone out or might never have thought about going out with their kids. Now sitting there going, "We're here. Enough of this shit."
But also, they took a risk, and I think Americans need to learn that sometimes you have to take a risk. Like, what really scared me is the facial recognition technology. These 200,000 people have probably put themselves at great risk of arrest, and they knew what they were doing, and they did it. And I wish more people in the U.S. would be willing to do that when it comes to trying to counteract Don't Say Gay bills here. We have to be willing to go out there just as much as the people of Hungary.
I don't believe that statement. For 250,000 people in Budapest, I don't think that there was such I mean, there might have been a few cameras, and I think that was just as a bully
To
threat.
scare people, of course it was, of course, but that's enough.
It's just getting very real. We don't know how their government's going to react. They don't know. They went out there being very brave, is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, and I agree with that. And it puts Orbán on notice to say, you're not going to get away with the shit you want to get away with, not without a fight.
Yeah, we did so many stories from this table about Hungary being so anti-LGBTQ and literally saying there were anti-LGBTQ zones where you were not able to say anything about being gay or talking about anything that had anything to do with gay culture or community or anything. And now they have 280,000 people out there marching, you know? And what gives me chills is what you said, because it's friends, families. It's not just the queer people out there marching. It's the people who support them, you know? Last Pride, I went to Colombia. I went to Medellin Pride, right? They don't have guardrails on the side. They had 2 million people at the parade. And it's just people joining in the parade, then going to work, joining the parade and then moving on, you know? And it's people with their families. It's not just LGBTQ plus people. It's like, if you're affected or touched in any way, shape, or form by a queer person, you're out there hollering and screaming, it's orgullo, it's pride, and we belong here.
Yeah.
Chills. I love it. Sending so much love to Budapest, you have no idea. And I never thought those words would even come out of my mouth, right? So I love it. And that is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Von Biggs, and let's queer up health. A recent Stacker article shares the #1 tip for dating in every decade. Navigating today's dating world can feel like learning a whole new language, especially in terms like ghosting, breadcrumbing, and swiping left. But one relationship expert says love isn't out of reach at any age. Dr. Deborah Castaldo, a therapist and author of the Return to Love Playbook, says dating in your 20s should start with one key step: defining your values. While hookups can feel exciting, Dr. Deb warns, she quotes, "If you are stuck in a pattern of one-night stands, ask yourself if this behavior is serving you and what the consequences may be, are not only for you, but for your partners," end quote. She urges young adults to prioritize emotional safety and courageous conversations around consent and STI testing. In your 30s, it's about leading with intention. While pressure to settle down may mount, Dr. Deb suggests slowing down and asking, quote, "What's your vision for life?" end quote. Real love takes time. She says that it takes at least a year to get to know the real person. But your 40s, clarity is key. Be upfront about what you want, casual or committed. Dr. Castaldo emphasizes that most people want a partner who has a mature sense of themselves. In your 50s, she says it's time to reflect, not panic. Let your past guide your future. And in your 60s and beyond, she advises being real, saying, quote, "Inauthenticity is one of the greatest obstacles in relationships at this age," end quote. Queer elders are often overlooked in both mainstream and LGBTQ spaces, but their stories and their capacity for joy and companionship are vital. Whether it's a new romance or a rekindled flame, love doesn't retire. Some of you may ask, how do online apps play into this? Well, dating apps have revolutionized queer dating by offering visibility, access, and community, especially in places where LGBTQ people may feel isolated. But they also come with challenges. They come with bias, safety concerns, and emotional fatigue. Dr. Deb's decade-by-decade advice reminds us that no matter how we meet, online or off, the most important relationship we build is with ourselves first. Her bottom line, no matter your age, the best relationship starts with honesty, self-awareness, and staying open to connection. For more on this story, visit stacker.com. And remember, love is love at every age. You know, what's great, I saw this article, and was just notified recently that NMAC and their USCHA conference in September, my abstract got submitted, which is dating interracially and racially amongst the generations.
Oh,
and dealing with disclosure. So you think about the dating apps, there's a lot about disclosure, you know, HIV status or STIs or how you're handling prevention or whatever means. So it just read right into what I'm going to be presenting. So it was kind of really exciting to see the story come out. So I think it's great. Yeah.
But I mean, you know, folks, I mean, I think that you guys will agree. It doesn't matter if you're 22 or 62, dating is freaking hard.
Yep.
at any age. And I'm thinking that, like, there's something about maturity that happens. Like, certain people that I probably would have dated in my 20s, I would have never dated in my 40s or 50s, right? Like hell no. Like, I think when you get to a certain age, you already know what you don't want, And then I also, I agree with you 100%. It doesn't matter how old you are. You can find a relationship in your 60s and your 70s, you know what I mean? But I think it's harder to find somebody at that age because you're so set in your routine. You're so set in your space, in your things being where they are. You know what I mean? Yeah. Don't move my shit. You know what I mean?
I think this is an important book because I think it should be handed out the minute somebody comes out. Because it's like, here you go.
Right.
There's a lot of rules to this group, but at least here's a starting point. I've told you as we were talking about this earlier that I was giggling throughout the whole time because she's going, in your 20s, you're going to do this. I'm like, no, you're horny. In your 30s, you're going to do this.
You're still horny. You're still horny.
And then she's like, well, in your 50s and 60s. And I'm like, and then you just become invisible because in the gay community, you just kind of.
But you don't have to, honey.
No, you don't have to. No, but I understand that. And that's why I was laughing about, in my own sick little mind and my jokes, it's like, the only challenge to this book is it doesn't acknowledge the reality to find community. So this book is good because once you find community, once you come to yourself and you start realizing who you are and your maturity and all these different things that you're going through, because this book is not going to work for somebody in the Boot Hill of Missouri or in the outskirts of Tennessee someplace where there's 7 gay men within a 100-mile radius that wants to at least talk to you.
Well, I don't know if this book is only for queer advice or is it all dating advice?
It's all dating advice. But I'm just saying I think this is a good starting point. But I think we also need to acknowledge that based on your ability to find community and the strength of that community is going to help you get through.
Right.
I feel it because a part of me, there are some things that I think this author is saying that it makes sense. There are other parts of this where I'm a little I don't know.
Like what? Which part?
Like the whole idea of like how to communicate. I'm not sure if that relates to everyone. But I will say I do think your 20s are for sleeping with all the wrong people. Your 30s are for sleeping with your friends.
Okay.
And then your
oh wow.
I've already passed my 30s, so that's what my 30s.
So we know what's going on in your life.
Right?
40s. Well, hopefully, most men in their 40s, they're already so set in their ways. I don't know. But for guys in their 50s and 60s, I do think they worry too much. And I'm like, don't think of it as like a failure or something. It's just trading season.
Right.
That's all. Just trading season. That's all. Trying to switch. Fine.
And this is where, and the book doesn't cover this, but this is where that intergenerational dating that she doesn't talk about when you've got someone in their 60s who date in their 30s.
Yeah. Which happens a lot in Wilton Manors. Yeah.
Right. So those are other topics to be
that's
explored.
because the 30-year-olds are trying to figure out what they are looking for in a mature relationship, and they look, you're old, you've been through shit, you're it.
You tell me, right? And the older guy wants to relive his youth and remember what it was like when he was in his 20s. So you come with me, and we're gonna have a great time, right?
Let's go.
And sometimes that works, and sometimes it doesn't.
It always works out great.
Yeah.
It always works out great, no matter what. Well, that is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now, let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Alex Morash, and let's queer up trans rights. Dove faces anti-trans backlash over inclusive hair ad featuring a trans model. The anti-LGBTQ group 1 Million Moms is once again up in arms, this time over a 6-second Dove commercial featuring a trans woman flipping her hair. Long and healthy hair, that should be. The ad, part of Dove's hair repair product campaign, sparked immediate outrage from right-wing circles and lit up social media with the hashtag Boycott Dove, led by accounts like Libs of TikTok. 1 Million Moms, an offshoot of the American Family Association, accused Dove of pushing a sinful lifestyle and called the commercial, quote, perverted and an abomination. The group is urging its followers to sign a petition that reads, quote, Dove is offending so many consumers to appease a small percentage of trans customers. To satisfy a few customers, Dove is pushing most of its conservative customers to shop with competitors. Therefore, I will not purchase any Dove products until your company chooses to remain neutral in the culture war, end quote. They've misgendered the model throughout their statement and accusing Dove of promoting sexual confusion. Over 13,000 people have reportedly signed the petition so far. trans advocate Leah Turner has called the campaign, quote, demoralizing, telling Trans Vital that it's heartbreaking to see yet another boycott built around the belief that trans people shouldn't even appear in a 6-second ad. This isn't new behavior from 1 Million Moms. Its long history of outrage includes attacking same-sex couples in ads, LGBTQ storylines in media, and even a children's magazine for acknowledging gay families. For many in the LGBTQ plus community, Dove's choice to include trans representation, however brief, just isn't just hair care, it's visibility. And many people were quite confused to realize that conservative bigots buy soap. And, you know, this is one of the most absurd articles I think I've seen in a while. Not really offense to the writers, just like, you know, Dove did a 6-second ad. Oh, wow, look at you. That's your version of trans representation. Woo, you know. And then the hoopla, 13,000 whole petition signers. That's not even a Zoran Mondani rally or a Bernie Sanders. It's nothing in this country these days.
Like the stupid 1 million moms. It's like 3 ladies in freaking Idaho, like being bitching about what we're doing, you know. And this is not the first time that Dove has done this. This is like their 3rd campaign with a trans model, and they don't go and say, "Hey, look at us, Dove. We've got a trans model on our ad."
Yeah, exactly.
They just do it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's not identified, you know, with a title, trans woman. Who the hell would know it in 6 seconds?
No.
Right.
And what does it care? She doesn't say a word. She sits there and goes, "Look, my hair."
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it's about hair.
Hair.
It's about hair.
Right.
It's actually about soap. If you
So
really want to
1 million moms out there with your bad Aquanet hairdos that you have horrible hair that you can't take care of, you know,
Well,
move on.
move on.
1 million moms should be more worried about Trump products being made in China, or maybe Elon Musk and Trump fighting, or maybe Facebook. You know, I mean, they're looking at the wrong less than 1%.
Yeah.
They need to be looking at the other.
Well, remember,
1%.
this is an AstroTurf group as part of the Family Association, which is funded by this big, giant, super conservative Christian family fund. And they fund this, they fund the Family Research Council,
Right.
they fund all these different hate groups out
I
there.
understand
And it's
that.
not, so remember, never take what they're doing as
No, I
genuine.
don't.
They're just out to try and hurt people, honestly.
And I want proof that they have 1 million moms.
Yes.
They don't even have
Yes.
13,000.
There's about 4 of them. So that is the big LGBTQ story for today. There was no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Buddy Frey, and let's queer up business. Chick Feel Gay pop-up serves pride with a side of protest. In Chicago's Lakeview neighborhood, Pride Month got an extra crispy twist this year. The Void, an Italian eatery with a bold personality, hosted a one-day Pride pop-up that made national headlines and local hearts full. They called it, quote, Chick Feel Gay, a sizzling parody of Chick-fil-A, the chicken chain known not just for its fried fare, but for its donations to anti-LGBTQ groups. The pop-up served up chef and co-owner Danny Kaplan's delicious take on Chick-fil-A's famous fried chicken sandwich, waffle fries, and nuggets. But it didn't stop there. Guests also got slices of cake decked out in the colors of the Progress Pride flag, a sweet addition Chick-fil-A has never dared to make. In a now viral Instagram post, The Void declared, "We took the sandwich and we left out the bigotry." Even the logo got a makeover, a rainbow-tinted reimagining of Chick-fil-A's branding. Beyond the parody, the event had a purpose. 20% of all proceeds are going to Brave Space Alliance, a Black, trans-led queer center on Chicago's South Side. It's especially meaningful since Chick-fil-A has announced plans to open a new location in the very same Hyde Park building where Brave Space operates. Chick-fil-A has faced long-standing criticism for donating millions to groups promoting conversion therapy and anti-LGBTQ leadership restrictions. But with Chick Feel Gay, Chef Kaplan, it isn't just flipping chicken. He's flipping the script. I love this story because it's reminding Chick-fil-A about how stupid they can actually be. You know, we just did a story about million moms having a meltdown over a model for 6 seconds on the screen being trans. why are we worried about that when we have people like Chick-fil-A sponsoring all these anti-LGBTQ hate stories?
Yeah, so much. I mean, they just opened one near me. I live in North Miami, and they opened one on 163rd about maybe a year ago. Buddy, the line is always out into the street. Like, it is constantly full of people that must love that hate sandwich that they're giving out, you know? And I know that most people don't know, right?
Yeah.
That's at the end of the day. I see people posting on Facebook, can't wait for Chick-fil-A to open, and you want to go and mess up their whole day by saying how awful Chick-fil-A is, but you don't, you know? And you know, politically, exactly. They just want to go get a milkshake. That's all they want, you know? But it's full of hate, and that's the thing. Now, big shout out going out to The Void for doing this. A great, great job. I've only got one issue with it, okay? Why did you do it on a Sunday? You should have done it on a day that they're open. Chick-fil-A closes on Sundays, okay?
Maybe they're listening. They'll do it another day.
You know, but that's what they should have done it on a different day. That's how you really go. Oh yeah, you want your hate sandwich? Well, we've got this rainbow piece of cake right here for you, you know? And the food looked amazing. Like, I would go and check out this restaurant now just by looking at the menu and the pictures of the food. I mean, I think it's fantastic what they've done. And what cojones? If you don't know what cojones is, go ask somebody who's Spanish, okay? To do this, because they're probably, I mean, again, that's a big company. Chick-fil-A is a big conglomerate.
And 20% goes to the charity.
Yes. Yeah. A trans black. Okay. Yes. I mean, you don't get no better than that.
I mean, come on down to Fort Lauderdale. You can do it. You know, it's just next to the Tesla dealership and across from that Chick-fil-A on Federal. We'll get two birds with one stone on a Saturday. You know, we'll have the people.
July 4th.
Exactly.
Good idea.
I'm normally a big critic of rainbow capitalism, but this was a very fun, sweet thing. The charity, I think, was a great thing to do, and it does remind people of Chick-fil-A. I wouldn't get mad at people waiting in line just because there's no ethical consumption under capitalism. Like, we're screwed no matter where we go half the time. Yeah. But this is something you can at least do to, like, help people. And I kind of do want that rainbow cake. I can't.
Send that over, okay? Send that over. UPS. We'll wait for it. And that is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm FayWhat, and let's queer up entertainment. Tears and cheers as Ian McKellen joined Scissor Sisters at Glastonbury. Queer icon and acting legend Sir Ian McKellen delivered a show-stopping surprise at this year's Glastonbury Festival, and fans are still buzzing about it. The 86-year-old star, best known as Gandalf in The Lord of the Rings and Magneto in X-Men, stunned festival goers by appearing on stage with queer pop royalty, the Scissor Sisters, during their Saturday night headline set at the Woodsy stage. In a moment that sent chills through the crowd, McKellen performed his spoken word monologue from the band's 2010 single, Invisible Light. The track from the Scissor Sisters' Nightwork album has long been a queer anthem, and seeing McKellen bring it to life live was pure magic. An Instagram reel shared by both the Scissor Sisters and BBC Radio 2 shows the emotional aftermath. Backstage, McKellen is visibly moved, wiping away tears as thousands of voices chant his name, Sir Ian McKellen, Sir Ian McKellen, to the beat of the White Stripes' Seven Nation Army. This year's Glastonbury overflowed with queer talent, from Doechii and Charlie XCX to Olivia Rodrigo and Kai Tempest. But it was Sir Ian, apparently, who stole the show. 86?
Right.
What? Incredible. Listen, Sir Ian McKellen on stage with the Scissor Sisters. I mean, baby, that is Glastonbury turned into Gaystonbury, and I am here for it. Okay, 86 giving drama, magic, and queer majesty all up there. That moment wasn't just a performance, it was a blessing for all of us.
Yes.
I mean, chills.
And rocking that outfit. That outfit was killer.
I saw it this morning on TikTok, and I think this is maybe the second time he's done it with the Scissor Sisters in their tour recently. It's always beautiful to watch. I just also, for anyone who needs a good driving at night album, if you're ever on a long road trip, Nightwork is one of the best albums of all time. It's been my favorite album for like 10 years now or so. But yeah, Ian was just great to watch in this one.
Yeah. I mean, this is better than, who's the guy with the mittens at Coachella? And then Bernie Sanders at Coachella. Come come on, I didn't expect him to come out at
Right.
Coachella, all right? So, I mean, I didn't expect Sir Ian at 86 years old to come out full dressed queer from head to toe and go and just belt
And
that out. Like,
he does the whole thing. He does the beautiful way he gets into it that you wouldn't expect, and you're like, wow. So,
But the Brits know how to show respect, and they know how to show their love, and to have somebody of that caliber, you know, I don't know of any star in the States that has the kind of cachet and presence and love and respect, you know, that's gay and open about it, and
Yeah.
no one gives a flying.
probably Elton John, like neck
Maybe.
and neck.
Right.
Maybe. That's about it. And that's a tough one
that's
right
a
there.
close
I
one.
mean,
Yeah.
you know, that's
You
two.
know?
That's royalty right there.
Yeah.
Times two. Well, that is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. Those are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight. These anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ community.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Don't forget to join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines.
We need your support. If our community is to grow and then thrive, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hot Spots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
That's right, buddy. And I'm your anchor, FayWhat. Wait, let me say that again. I'm your anchor, FayWhat. There. And on behalf of these LGBTQ reporters, the incredible anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Von Biggs, Alex Morash, and Buddy Frey. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. to our LGBTQ plus world. We hope that you will join us by embracing love, generosity, bravery, by being transformative, and, of course, being queer. Good night.
Good night.